default set, an enterprise individual may be able to identify and take advantage of patterns to skew the results in their favor. It also has to be provably random. The randomness must be verifiable, otherwise it can lead to user distrust. The verification cannot be done in a black box. To establish confidence in the fairness, anyone, not just the participants, anyone in the world should be able to validate that the inputs and outputs are completely random. And finally, we would expect it to be tamper-proof. Any randomness generated must be resistant to external manipulation by participants or vested interests, and the source of randomness itself must not be able to tamper with the results for its own gain, as it is entirely possible that your source of randomness can collude with one of the participants in that particular system. So what makes this challenging? So blockchains being deterministic and decentralized makes unpredictability difficult, given that every single node of the network must arrive at the exact same result. A limited source of unpredictability does exist within block data. You might be able to select a block hash or perhaps a difficulty, but these are fundamentally unreliable. From a fairness unbiased perspective, there are more reliable sources of randomness off-chain. But bringing those off-chain sources on-chain results in a set of trust questions. How much trust can you put in your off-chain source? What are your methodologies by which you can minimize the trust? Which then brings us to on-chain verification, making it provably random. Anyone needs to be able to confirm your inputs are provably random, and that needs to be done in a manner that all parties can view it historically and have confidence that going forward, it is going to operate in the exact same manner you'd expect. And finally, it is important to consider the impact of finality by chain, the opportunities for manipulation that are unique to blockchains, to ensure that it's actually tamper-proof. We must consider the various actors that can benefit from predicting, biasing, or generally tampering with the results. These are just some of the critical factors we look into when considering how do you create an elegant VRF solution that can provide indisputably fair outcomes. Now let's have a brief look at a few strategies that have been attempted. First, let's start with a naive off-chain implementation. And we can see that there are two primary pitfalls here. First, you have to have trust in an off-chain source of randomness. And second, you have an Oracle solution that is sit in between that must bring this trusted randomness on-chain. Either party can be faulty or purposefully malicious. What is your end user really getting here? It's hard to be certain. So there has to be ways in which you can take both and make them trustless or minimize trust in them such that your users are getting the benefits they expect to get. Now let's look at a naive on-chain implementation and the pitfalls of how this could work. One of the methodologies that's been used is to rely on block data as a sole source of randomness. In this case, miners or verifiers can exploit the biasable data, resulting in negative impact for your users. Moreover, some implementations are susceptible to reroll attacks, where users can revert within a given transaction when an undesirable outcome results from their particular action. They take a roll of the die and it doesn't work out, undo it. Then immediately retry over and over again until you get the outcome you like. Once again, it's easy to distrust the fairness of the outcomes. So taking all this into consideration, we created ChainLink VRF, secure, verifiable, reliable, and easy to integrate. Our research team spent substantial time and effort to come up with an approach that avoids all the known pitfalls while meeting the expectations we have of randomness. We consider the nuances of each chain we deploy to and ensure tamper-proof results. We use on-chain smart contract verification so you don't have to trust the VRF nodes. Our battle-hardened ChainLink core node software is the engine that powers ChainLink VRF, and we continuously measure the responsiveness so users can get the most reliable service. And finally, we recognize that more than anything, users want to focus on their business. We want you to do the same thing. We want you to focus on business so you can create the most creative new solutions and products that can exist. And for that, we want to ensure that there is substantial ease of integration. Making sure that you can use our product within a matter of, say, minutes to hours is critical for us. And as we continue to build out the product, we always have ease of integration in mind. So let's dive a little bit into how ChainLink VRF works. Overall, broadly speaking, we have two key stages. First is to set up. and make it so that you can actually start using ChainLink VRF. So VRF nodes start by committing in public to a private key that is used to generate the random numbers. This is done by registering a hash of the public key with the VRF coordinator contract. And by committing to this upfront, any error or purposeful manipulation by the VRF node can be detected. Users then select a key hash they would like to get responses from, deploy and configure their contract accordingly. And to make this easier, we provide a VRF consumer-based helper contract to manage the interactions with the VRF coordinator. So all you need to do is request randomness and implement a fulfill randomness function, which will then be called by our VRF coordinator at the end so that you can complete your work. Once this is set up and complete, you are ready to use ChainLink VRF, which then breaks down into 3 broad steps. Consumers or users of user contracts submit requests for randomness. The VRF nodes listens to the log events anytime a request is submitted. They wait for a number of confirmations so that we have space between the initial request and the submission of the response, and then finally provide that response back to the users. The VRF coordinator then performs an on-chain verification, calls the consumer contracts fulfill randomness function, and therefore completes the full cycle. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the actual usage workflow. So we start here with the user contract submitting a request to the VRF coordinator contract. In doing so, we identify the key hash committed by the VRF node, and a nonce is added specific to this request from this requester, such that each one of these are perfectly unique. An event is submitted by the VRF coordinator that the VRF nodes are listening for. On a regular basis, we are always looking for what events are coming in and what actions do I need to take. What you should recognize here is that we are using the block hash and the user nonce, but it is important to note that we are not relying purely on the block hash. The purpose of this is that every single transaction that's submitted is unknowable ahead of time. So a user cannot know it, an app developer cannot know it, and the VRF node does not know it. So block hash helps us get this unpredictability, but we do not rely solely on this, given the potential attack vectors from users and verifiers. VRF nodes detect and request this, detect the request and generate a random output and a proof using the private key that's committed to ahead of time. Given the seed data is fixed, our output for a given private key is deterministic. If a VRF node attempts to submit an incorrect response, it is entirely detectable. The randomness response will then be broadcast to the network after a predefined number of block confirmations have passed, which serves to secure the results from tampering and improves user experience so reorgs do not change your results. You don't want to have an NFT that is extremely rare show up, you're very happy about it, and then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, turns out it's not rare anymore. The VRF coordinator then verifies this proof so that the randomness has been generated correctly. If the proof fails, the response is rejected, and it's publicly verifiable by anybody, and it's available on the blockchain for all of history. Once the successful verification is completed by the VRF coordinator, the user contract's fulfill randomness function is called to complete the workflow in end-to-end. We've built this workflow with the gas optimization in mind so our users can get high-quality VRF on-chain while minimizing the cost of operation. So the end result is a reliable randomness for smart contracts that allow you to focus on your business with confidence. ChainLink VRF meets all the requirements mentioned earlier. It is unpredictable, fair and unbiased, provably random, and tamper-proof. We also have a rapidly growing community of users. In just the last 30 days, we've had 200K or more fulfilled requests and over 370 unique contracts requesting randomness over the last 3 months. The ChainLink VRF is available currently on Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon, and we have plans to expand to many more chains as our user community grows. Our team is constantly in communication with our users, and it's important for us to be always looking for ways to improve the product and broaden adoption. With that in mind, I want to take a minute to talk about some improvements we're making to ChainLink VRF so that our users get better results as well as lowering their costs and have a better overall experience. In our next iteration, we'll be supporting a subscription model to simplify funding. An admin address can create a subscription and designate a number of consumer addresses that can request randomness and use allocated funds. We're also expanding user-defined configurations such that as part of a request, you can submit how much call gas limit you would like to have for your fulfill randomness. You can also define the desired number of block confirmations before receiving your VRF response. This allows you to more easily account for your crypto-economic security requirements and do so at a matter of time when you're developing your contract. It does not require that you set it up on a subscription ahead of time. It is unique to your particular requests. As an added benefit to moving to a subscription model, we're also able to reduce the gas requirements for requesting VRF, making it cheaper for our consumers. The overhead of transferring funds is removed from every request, and therefore, over time, that can add up quite a bit, and you're saving a lot of gas just by doing that alone. In addition to this, we've thought a little bit more about VRF expansion, and we're looking to address user needs where some of our users request several random words simultaneously, and it'll get expensive over time, and in terms of both finances as well as the time it takes to get responses. A single response can now be used by the VRF coordinator to expand on the VRF response from the VRF node to split it up in several random words, greatly reducing the cost of fulfillment. So for the cost of essentially doing one request, you can get 10 random numbers or 10 random words. If you're interested in any of this, please go to our website and reach out to us. We're more than happy to work with you to test out our new features and get you into production. Last part I'm going to talk about here in terms of use cases, there are so many different use cases that can benefit from randomness. A well-considered blockchain solution can provide your users with confidence to need to use your product. Some of you may not be using blockchain at all today. You may have sources of randomness that are entirely centralized. And that may work for a number of cases. But over time, we're going to see the industry move more and more towards having provably random verifiable functions that are using blockchains to verify the history and confirm that you are getting exactly what you need. ChainLink VRF can serve you in this capacity, whatever your use case may be. So come check out our documentation and try out our product. Getting your first contract set up and running is doable in a matter of minutes. Our documentation walks you through the entire process, and our teams are more than happy to help you answer any questions you may have. Jump over to our website and identify ways in which you can make use of randomness, grab some ideas from there, have a look at our documentation to get a whole lot more details on ChainLink VRF and how to make use of it. Thank you so much for your time.
Here we go.
I hope to see you all in person next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for that, Anish. He said if you've got questions about VRF to go to the website, you can do that, but you can also go and talk to our ChainLink experts right now over in the Expo side of Hopin. We make that available to you. If you need to talk to somebody, get that in your app. Start doing it today. You're welcome to do that. We have a really exciting panel coming up next. It's about the metaverse, which is a very hot topic right now. We've got a bunch of NFT projects and games and all sorts of really interesting things. So I'm really happy to introduce another member of the ChainLink Labs team, Chirag Dul, who will take it away.
And welcome to the panel for Evolution of the Metaverse, Building Bridges to the Real World. In this panel, we will discuss how NFTs from Lamella Ball to digital DeFi pads are crossing over to the mainstream. Here today, we have a gathering of some of the best minds in the space who will share details about their success stories and experiences in creating NFT-based metaverse, collectibles, and games, all while using ChainLink VRF as a tamper-proof and verifiable source of randomness. My name is Chirag Dul. I lead product marketing for ChainLink Labs. Really excited to have this esteemed group of panelists with us today, and this is going to be an interesting conversation and will hopefully be valuable to you whether you are building NFT-based projects and use cases, looking at new types of blockchain-based games and key trends such as the metaverse, or wanting to learn about applications of ChainLink VRF as a verifiable source of randomness. As we get started, just wanted to provide introductions to our panelists today. So I would like to request our panelists to provide a brief intro about themselves, their role, and explain a little bit about their project, starting with Jesse.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jesse. I am the co-founder of Pixelcraft Studios and one of the summoners of Aavegotchi. So Aavegotchi is a NFT game that's made for people who enjoy DeFi. And we do that because the way we achieve that is with basically what is an on-chain, 100% on-chain, cute little ghost that actually has a deposit of Aave A tokens inside of it, existing on the Polygon network. And it's not the only thing that's on chain. In this case, it includes all of the visuals. So this means that every visual asset you see, every Aavegotchi and every wearable is stored as an SVG file directly on the Polygon network. This is important because that means you can rest well at night knowing that the longevity of your NFT is secure in every possible way, not just the typical metadata. The other part that is on-chain is the way we realize the Aavegotchis, and that they are actually born on the using the ChainLink VRF. So you get a cute portal, this NFT with a magical door, and it's almost like a deck of cards. You choose to open it at some point of your choosing. At that point, it engages the ChainLink VRF, and you generate randomly on-chain, provably 10 different Aavegotchis with unique traits and visuals. And from there, you get to decide which one you're going to pick. You can only take one home with you from that portal. And so that's kind of the project in a nutshell. The name obviously references the old school Tamagotchi in that it's a crypto pet. We've thought a lot about crypto pets, and the most famous is, of course, that first generation with crypto kitties. And the idea when we started was kind of a blank sheet of paper, and we said, well, how do we make a crypto pet that really lives up to the term, in the sense that you actually grow some attachment to that crypto pet. You actually care about it. And so we do that by taking advantage of really interesting and innovative ideas that are seldom used, such as on-chain dynamic traits. So when you summon your Aavegotchi, it'll start with a 50 score of a kinship. And this kinship score will move up and down every day, depending on whether or not you interacted with your Aavegotchi in an on-chain manner. So it's actually measuring on-chain transactions with your Aavegotchi. This is one of the many ways we think about living up to the idea of a true crypto pet. And then the Aave side of the name is really referencing the fact that, indeed, to summon the Aavegotchi you finally choose, you have to stake a certain amount of Aave yield-generating tokens. And so, for example, we have a link-themed Aavegotchi. If you see that in your portal, and you really, really want it, you're going to want to go get some A link or Polygon equivalent AM link and deposit it into your Aavegotchi. So literally the Aavegotchi is kind of like an NFT wallet, is one term we see thrown around, which I think we need new terms for everything, but it's a pretty accurate way to think about it, because you can deposit ERC20 tokens into your Aavegotchi, including our Ghost token or Aave tokens. And you can also deposit and attach other 1155 NFTs to it in the form of wearables, typically, or badges. We also have badges. So that addresses the reputation side. So that's kind of what we're working on, and really excited to be here today and talk about where we're going with that towards the metaverse and what we like to call the Gotchiverse, which is a kind of virtual world made cozy for Aavegotchis.
Awesome. Nice to have you here, Jesse. Andras.
Hi, this is Andras Christoph. I'm the founder of Ethercards. We have been doing NFTs for like 3 years now, so way before it was becoming fashionable. We are building NFTs that we call dynamic NFTs. They have specific traits. Traits are specific features and functions that make sense in the context in which the NFTs were created for. So for different projects, we are creating different sets of functions. These functions can be utilized directly from the NFTs. For example, you can get discounts for certain products. You can connect with a famous artist. You can directly connect with a famous sportsman or celebrity, or you can have traits that lets you redeem physical objects from the NFTs directly. We are also having games and different kind of engagement systems that helps the creative people, the artists, the celebrities, the sportsmen, musicians to engage with their audience, because EtherCards itself is a community engagement and management tools that enables the users to create funding mechanisms and monetization mechanisms that helps them to engage and integrate with their own community. What we are building is a platform as a service, so it's not going to be a marketplace. It's more like that we are helping you, and our upcoming self-service platform will help you for you to deploy your own set of NFTs with your own set of dynamic features and functions that works for your use case the best.
Awesome. Great to have you around, Ross. Aiden.
Thank you.
Hello, hey guys. This is Aiden from Chain Guardians, aka the NFT professor. So I've been in the NFT space since 2017 when pretty much when it first started. Formerly, I worked on as part of in Microsoft as well as part of the Xbox ecosystem. What Chain Guardians is, it's a blockchain superhero NFT. We make blockchain superhero for various different projects. So I think up to now, we made about 20 blockchain superhero, some of the big ones including ChainLink, but we also made other hero more recently for Binance as well as KuCoin, etc. So we had a play-to-earn RPG game that we've been making for the past 2.5 years. So it is in production. So you can visit it at under chainguardians.io. We also have an idle NFT mining game, which people can, as long as they own NFT, they can earn our token as well as a partner token, and the currency are kind of interchangeable, where you can use it with an RPG game as well. With our whole ecosystem of blockchain superhero NFT, you can also use it to participate in our ChainBoost incubator, which is an IDO platform for NFT DeFi specific. So it's a launch pad for IDO. We recently did the IDO for Spores, and there's 2 other upcoming, Poker Fantasy and Babylon, and a whole bunch of others. So essentially, we're a gamified universe of blockchain and NFT projects.
Awesome. Nice to have you here, Aiden. Kieran.
Hey guys, my name's Kieran Warwick. I'm one of the co-founders of the up-and-coming blockchain game Alluvium. What we're building is essentially an open world RPG mixed with auto battler mechanics. And so essentially, you can think of us like very, very similar to Pokemon. There's 150 characters to collect in the world. We're looking to launch later this year. And right now you can participate in the staking that we have going, which essentially basically allows you to stake a little bit of ILV to earn ILV, or you can stake in one of our flash pools as well. And yeah, we've basically got play to earn aspects all throughout our game. It's not just the collecting of the characters. It's we also have land, which we're looking to launch later this year as well, and yeah, very excited to be here.
Awesome, thank you, Kieran. Lei.
Yeah, sure. Hi, hello everyone. I'm Lei, head of business development team at Heckle. So we are an EVM compatible public chain that provides blockchain developers with an efficient and low cost on-chain development for decentralized applications, smart contracts, and digital assets. To now, Heckle has 12 million total addresses with 6.5 billion on TVLs, and also we are participating this panel mainly because of we are now officially hunting for high quality and high potential ones like the panelists today to expand the market together. So yeah.
Awesome. Great to have you here, Lei. All right, and now I'm going to jump straight into randomness. And so my next question would be, why does your use case need a verifiable source of randomness? What were the pain points in existing naive implementation of randomness, and how is ChainLink VRF beneficial? I'd like to start with Andres first on some of the things you're doing with dynamic NFTs and where do you think randomness plays a role there?
Thank you. So randomness is essential to have any kind of system, any kind of gamification, almost any kind of activity. On the other hand, as probably not many people knows, there is no randomness on the blockchain. It is technically impossible to get something random enough that can be used in a way that actually creates any kind of real randomness on the blockchain. So getting randomness is next to impossible, and all the people who have tried it to use that kind of some kind of magic to utilize blockchain data to create randomness, they all failed because whatever they did, that was figured out, and their so-called randomness was figured out, and it did not work out. So getting a verifiable actual randomness on the blockchain is non-trivial. So without VRF, we could not actually exist unless we would have built the whole infrastructure for ourselves, which would have been a lot of time and effort required. So basically, VRF made it possible for us to do all the dynamic NFTs and all the random distributions of traits and different features and functions and gamifications that we are using. So for us, it is pretty much a requirement for our existence.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your perspective, Andres. What about you? From a blockchain gaming perspective, where do you think randomness plays a role, and can you share your experience with ChainLink VRF?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's quite interesting. I think ChainLink came up with two features, and one other feature that's upcoming this past few years. We created a pack system to be able to have people be able to purchase our NFTs. And one that we make together with ChainLink is obviously the ChainLink Superhero, where we use it where users, when they purchase, which is on the chainlink.chainguardians.io, people can get a random rarity and random color card. So now why is this super important is because the random rarity, there's only one legendary card, and you do want to have a true randomness. The reason why is there's two types of stack that we used to do in our past pack system. Now, one of them is quite popular, which is essentially centralized pseudo-random solution, which means you randomize in the back end, and then later on when user get it, they will then obviously see it as it's random. But the only caveat is that is assuming none of your devs know, none of them is actually going to secretly go purchase it because they know what's in the back end. So that does create a problem of, okay, can you really trust the centralized solution? It kind of defeats the purpose to be using blockchain and then having a centralized solution, right? So I think that's why, obviously the VRF function is something that we use along with the price oracle, because just like, hey, like how do you get the right price? So we kind of use this in both the stack. So I think everything ChainLink is building is super cool. I just want to mention the one other angle, of course, in the past that we have used is we just mentioned, which is you can use something based on a chain, an attribute on chain, but then because of retries and like when we started in 2017, using the previous block's hash as some kind of randomness is actually still acceptable, except these days everyone is getting much better at writing smart contract. They build contract that interact with the same block. So having knowledge with using something on a previous block is no longer good. But otherwise, I'm just super glad that in this VRF, because it's proven that in our cells that having the VRF solution, like a trusted solution, we actually like threefold ourselves versus other NFTs which didn't have VRF installed. So I think there's a market demand for it for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Aiden. Kieran, same question. And if you'd like to add, where do you think are the potential new use cases for randomness as well?
Yeah, so in our case, we haven't actually implemented ChainLink's VRF yet. Where we are going to be doing it is in the staking platform that we have. we're actually going to be implementing and it still needs to be approved by our council, which is part of the governance structure that we set up. But basically, what we're going to be suggesting is to implement ChainLink's VRF into the staking contract, which will essentially allow us to start distributing at random these potentially high value NFTs that we've created. And so it's, I touched on, we have 150 characters in our first Genesis set. What we want to be able to do is as a value add or a nice offering for people who are staking very, very early on, is the ability for them to earn one of these NFTs, and it would be obviously completely at random, but the higher amount that you have staked, the more chance that you have. But because of the potentially high value of these NFTs, it's critical that we make it tamper-proof. And obviously, ChainLink being the industry standard, we decided to go with them. We did look at other solutions, but again, ChainLink is has proven time and time again that they're the best. And so yeah, we're using ChainLink for that. The other use cases that I see are potentially things like loot drops, lotteries as well. So in the case of making it random for high stakes tickets and stuff like that, but also as I mentioned, weapons and armor that you might find in game. What type of thing that you actually earn has to be in most cases random, and you want to make sure that can be proven and reliable and on chain.
Ooh, awesome. Thanks for your thoughts, Kieran. Jesse, I know you touched a little bit earlier about Tamagotchis and VRF and randomness. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so I mentioned to summon an Avagachi, you open a portal, you get 10 randomly generated, and that's engaging with the ChainLink VRF. And I think all of this, what everyone's talking about is that, if faith in how these results come about is undermined, you have a really big problem as any project. With crypto, we're all looking for fairness, and the ChainLink VRF really unlocks a lot of that. So we use it everywhere we can. We've used it to summon the Avagachis, but also in a couple other places. So the first haunt of Avagachis arrived in March of this year, but the project has existed for about a year. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary. And so the community has been really engaged from day one when we launched via a bonding curve. And that means if we launched September of last year till March, there was a lot of time in between. What did we do? Well, we ended up issuing NFT vouchers for future wearables that would be issued when the game arrived. And we started a kind of tradition in the community of every so often doing a raffle that was on-chain and using the VRF as well. And it was also a great way for us to battle test using the VRF before we got to the big day and needed to use it to engage with generating actual Avagachis. So it was kind of a win-win. Like the devs wanted to work with VRF, and we were able to do something with the community that was pretty special. So you would stake your ghost on a one-sided staking that would get you basically loyalty points called friends, and they're not ERC20s or anything like that. These points served one purpose. You'd exchange them for 1155 NFT tickets, and these raffle tickets would be of, if do you want to try to win a godlike, then you're going to need 50,000 friends points for one ticket. Or do you want something common? You can do that all day. And I'm happy to say that some of the most exciting experiences within our community have been those raffles. They're really a rallying point. Everybody knows it's fair. Everybody knows what's at stake. And sometimes you really do come away with people who had less capital, but they've had time in the game. They were able to acquire a few of those godlike tickets, and they actually win. If a godlike, that means there's only 5 of that particular NFT in existence, that wearable. And we've actually had somebody win with submitting 1 ticket. We were able to verify it on chain. Quite amazing. And you couldn't have planned it better. The wearable was from our ChainLink themed wearable to celebrate the VRF. This is like November last year. And it was a little ChainLink cube, a little pixelated version representing that. and this user actually won it with one godlike ticket. Going forward, I think there's more ways to use it. So we're going beyond raffles and that kind of thing. And when the Gotchiverse virtual world comes and these parcels, you're going to have a parcel. We said, well, yeah, okay, right now a parcel represents rights to build on top of it, but we're a DeFi NFT project and we want to have some real gamification elements. So what if you get a parcel and you can see certain inputs, like where it is located? Is it next to a volcano that emits a certain, we have these different tokens called FOMO, Alpha, FUD. Where you are in position on the map will adjust these boosters. And then only after you engage the Chainlink VRF will you know what your parcel really holds in terms of these different, what we call alchemica. So it's going to be pretty cool. That's coming up, and Chainlink's going to play, again, a very big role in what is probably the highest stakes yet. Because if I get a parcel and I'm next to a certain area or it's a certain size, I want to know it's fairly distributed and the results are provable. So I'm very excited for doing that.
Awesome. Thanks for your thoughts, Jesse. All right, Lei, I'm going to switch up the question a little bit for you. I know you're doing a bunch of amazing things around HecoChain and Metaverse, so I'm going to start there on the next question and go to other panelists real quick to get their thoughts. I know we're coming up on time. So Lei, tell us a little bit more about what are the amazing things you're doing on HecoChain in the context of Metaverse and NFTs and gaming.
Yeah, sure. During Heiko's new launch, ChainLink actually supported us with 4 or 5 press feed already, but mainly the mint tokens. And right after it, Heiko experienced a explosive growth, and the project on HecoChain suddenly increased from 10 to over 100, and the needs from developers get urgent. And we become part of ChainLink's customer service team about a week to answering all the questions from developers about why we don't work with ChainLink for this and that tokens. And then ChainLink started run more press feeds with Heiko together. And now, right now, there's almost 30 something supported. And for ChainLink VRF, so since there's another booming of Heiko's gaming project and also a Metaverse project, so I think it would be available on Heiko very soon, hopefully. And we also worked with ChainLink very closely for different aspects to develop the future blockchain world. So for example, Heiko are launching a ChainLink hackathon together. Well, that will be the first game theme blockchain hackathon that integrates screening, guidance, and support to one session. So I would say, to all the gaming developers, definitely don't miss it. And also right now, we are building a macro metaverse framework. We believe that the most vital point in metaverse is the immersive experience of users. So the key user experience is a lot of key use cases. So we are launching many use cases, game, NFTs, social products, and etc. And right now, a complex metaverse platform is building, and will alliance with one of the biggest film festival to lay out on Heiko together. Also, several former really top development team is they are building several new projects like cosmetic war game on Heiko. So again, we are together targeting all the high potential ones to join Heiko, and we will support with all the resources we're having on hand.
Awesome. Thank you, Lei. Well, unfortunately, folks, we're at the end of our time. This conversation could have gone much, much longer. I want to thank all our panelists for their time today, for sharing their insights about what they're doing, how they're using randomness and VRF. Thank you very much, and we are looking forward to seeing your continued success. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. The good news is we could have gone on forever because it's such great content and amazing projects. Also, I'm a long-term gamer and games researcher, and I've got a YouTube channel on ChainLink that I want to have each of you guys on and talk about your projects. So I'll be in contact. We'll make sure and extend these. I would absolutely love to talk to every single one of you. I've already talked to Kieran before, but I'm going to have him back and everybody else too. So we're going to take a very brief break as we get ready for our next panel. Take a look around the conference, the expo, go talk to a ChainLink expert. If you want to get VRF into your game or NFT project, go take a look at our careers options or hit the networking button and see other ChainLink ecosystem partners, see other ChainLink enthusiasts, meet people and watch the conference together. Again, SmartCon 2021 Day 3. We'll be right back. Welcome back. SmartCon number 1 2021, day 3 continues. Up next, we have Matthew Rozak with Expanding DeFi's Global Footprint. Matthew's the co-founder of Vesper Finance.
Love that intro music. Hi, everybody. Matt Rozak, co-founder of Vesper Finance. Today, I'm going to be speaking about effective strategies to increase DeFi accessibility. If the last year has shown us anything, it's that DeFi is here to stay. We've seen the Cambrian explosion of innovation. A year ago, kind of DeFi raised a lot of antennas, a lot of interest, and now is, if you look at DeFi Pulse, it's about a $77 billion market. And my sense is a year from now, that'll add a zero, get close to $1 trillion, and really grow from there. And DeFi feels like it's the first crypto use case to capture the hearts and minds of the masses. And it's a really important primitive because it's where people could actively participate, where traditional finance might not be an option. And so DeFi's momentum is really reflected in Vesper's success. We hit over $1 billion in TVL just a few weeks out of coming out of beta. So we're really at the front end of this amazing new Cambrian explosion of innovation in finance. The Vesper ecosystem. So the way we approached Vesper and our products is we looked at a lot of the challenges that we saw in DeFi in the early days, and that had everything to do with UI, UX, professionalism around auditing smart contracts, documentation, and then just having a much more known team. My co-founder, Jeff Garzik, has been around for quite some time. And so we distilled all that into Vesper and really wanted to streamline the look and feel, some of the positionings of the buttons, and a lot of the what I would say simple but important parts of making sure that an app is easy to use and accessible. We also created the Vesper pool, which is two things. One is it acts as a governance platform for users to vote on the future dimension of Vesper. And then two, provides an economic bite, a participation in the fee revenue that Vesper creates. But there's a lot of challenges in how DeFi is gearing up, and some of the biggest opportunities are obviously still in front of us. So in order for DeFi to kind of reach its full potential on a global scale, we need to attract more participants into the ecosystem. I always find it kind of amazing that also for Vesper and then just DeFi broadly defined is the vast majority of the TVL, the total value locked, it comes via things like MetaMask. And so that just shows and puts in perspective how much more accessibility and kind of the bridges, roads, and tunnels that we built to DeFi are still kind of in front of us. But it is a $77 billion real money test that's going on right now through DeFi, creating value and really exercising what the potential could be. And you know, like a year ago, I would have never thought that, you know, Kevin O'Leary or Mark Cuban would be talking about DeFi and yield farming, which, you know, we've come a long way. We've got a lot more work to do. But DeFi, I think, has to be simpler to engage with. I think a lot of the primitives, whether it's borrowing, lending, creating yield, all the different components of DeFi are really powerful, but they're not that easy to engage with. And I think that's going to be the next phase of kind of DeFi advancement is the UI UX. some of the ways you could save time with 1 click versus 3 clicks, and make the experience a lot more intuitive, kind of going forward. And asking ourselves, how do we do that? You know, and which was one of the kind of recipes into building Vesper. One of our core principles is really to think through the UI UX, the types of products, and then kind of the engagement. How do you actually get people, whether it's individuals or institutions, to participate in this Cambrian explosion of DeFi? So one of the biggest barriers in kind of the global adoption is accessibility. DeFi requires a decent amount of technical knowledge, and it's like kind of like the early days of the internet or early days of any other kind of sector in tech. The early days are kind of wonky, not really intuitive, and I think that's where the greatest opportunity is for DeFi over the near term. The second is some professionalization. We're still in an early stage in DeFi, and we're going through this massive innovation cycle, and it's a learning curve. And so some of the dynamics of making sure that there's multiple external smart contract audits, documentation, and a lot of things that, quite frankly, are key in open source development. And I think more rigor around that, I think will benefit the industry. And then one of the last pieces that's really critical that people are trying to solve through multi-chain approaches is dealing with high fees. And that continues to be a challenge today. But again, this is kind of a picture, a moment in time, and kind of the movie as this evolves will get better and better and easier with less fees as this industry matures. So many of the ways users are actively accessing DeFi are not, that user friendly, and that demonstrates the need for a better standard in terms of UI UX. I would also think about the future of DeFi, and you have all these incredible developers building lending, borrowing, derivative, all these different platforms in DeFi. But there's this opportunity to create this dashboard, this browser to DeFi that really kind of harnesses all that amazing innovation into one interface. So the user, or whether it's an API for an institution, or the user could really make sense of all this and create strategies and these treadmills essentially to keep your capital working for you. And I think that's a huge opportunity. So the way we're approaching this in many ways, obviously with our UI, trying to continue to advance a simple user interface. But then you think about what are the other spokes you could build off of a DeFi platform. And so, the biggest blood vessel right now in many ways is MetaMask. Then you look at what other spokes off the hub that you could build. One thing we did is we partnered with Blockforce Capital that's building a traditional GP LP fund to invest in DeFi. And so that's one kind of appendage to that. We're seeing a lot of things with Grayscale and Bitwise and others that are building public platforms and funds to invest in DeFi. There's also an institutional go-to-market whereby DeFi platforms are engaging with some of the biggest financial institutions in the world and creating permissioned pools. And I think those will be interesting to see how they develop, whether they get really big or whether they are used as a kind of a stepstone to getting into DeFi. There's some regulatory and other challenges around that, but that's also a massive opportunity for the DeFi ecosystem to engage with institutions on that side. And then another way is for every team in DeFi or crypto, the secret sauce to getting it right is really leveraging the community, and whether that's creating a white space, a canvas for them to build and innovate on, or also creating incentives and bounties for them to help a particular platform move the needle. And then in terms of accessibility and the fees and some of that perspective, I think we're continuously exploring multi-chain solutions to really streamline that kind of cost structure on the fees. And we'll be announcing more on that in the coming weeks. And then lastly, I'm really proud of the Vesper's Global Ambassador program that we built. And it helps evangelize and contextualize what Vesper is doing, what DeFi is in many parts of the world, and doing it in context locally. And we think that's very important as this ecosystem continues to develop. In terms of elevating the DeFi experience, again, we kind of covered this a little earlier, but our work specifically with ChainLink is a part of our ability to raise the standard by providing an accurate view of TVL, assets under management. And we really pride ourselves on partnering with some of the best in the ecosystem, and this is certainly one of those partnerships. But we have to continue to raise the standard. So UI, UX, getting the audits done, published publicly. And I think the audit business in DeFi continues to be a challenge because a lot of them have a backlog, and so the timing, right now there's probably a lot of interesting primitives hanging out on the desks of smart contract auditors, and so there's going to be a lot more amazing product and evolution in this space, but it's one of the kind of the friction points today. So beyond the audits, we at Vesper work through a very kind of rigorous and professional process, similar to what you would see at Google or AWS. And some of that has given us an ability to chat with several institutions that are interested in partnering with Vesper. So we're going to continue to push forward and figure out this bridge work between traditional finance and DeFi. And there's that middle ground, this hybrid finance, hi-fi, if you will, that I think is a massive opportunity for DeFi, broadly defined. You're talking about part of the crowd, the importance of community. Vesper, we're committed to progressive decentralization. The users are the beneficiaries of Vesper at the end of the day, and so community is super core to everything we do. And then the building for sustainability. I mean, we are building this for the long term. Everybody on the team has been in the crypto community for quite some time. My co-founder, Jeff Garzik, has been a Bitcoin Core developer. He's been around since the earliest of days, and a number of our team members have been around crypto since 2015 and have built a lot of some of the best known products in the space. And so, I mentioned this before, but we don't want to work in a vacuum. It's really important that we harness kind of the benefits of our community and of our partners and our ambassadors, and really expand the surface area of how we continue to build and layer on top of some of the foundation that we've built. And so we feel that that's going to continue to grow, not only for Vesper, but in DeFi, broadly defined. As people think about other strategies, other approaches, will be super exciting to watch. In terms of minimizing high fees and getting more global accessibility, this is one of the big barriers. And I think we're seeing this. You'll hear this at Vesper. You're seeing this on other DeFi platforms where Ethereum is Grand Central Station. All the tooling, all the connective tissue, wallets, exchanges, you name it, it is all very well tested. But given the dramatic volume and everything else, the fees are quite high. So people are exploring things like Binance Smart Chain and Solana, Avalanche, every other smart contract platform on the planet to try and reduce fees. And it'll be interesting to see if those other chains get a gravitational pull where they get a lot of throughput and volume. And that's I think what that innovation cycle on other layer ones supporting DeFi will be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think for the foreseeable future, I think it's going to be a multi-chain world, and people are going to build and capture as much value from those communities and provide value for those communities in building lily pads beyond just Ethereum. So, and just the broader kind of road to DeFi adoption, as an industry, we the way to expand the conditions for DeFi globally is that we collaborate across these different platforms, and then those that are participating, have a voice. So a lot of these platforms provide governance and votes and a condition where you can participate in the future kind of expansion of these DeFi projects. And for those of you that are actively participating in DeFi, I invite you to check out our pools at Vesper. You'll have an opportunity in the coming weeks to participate in new primitives that haven't been seen yet in the DeFi ecosystem. So our first set of pools were grow pools, which you deposit X and you earn X. One thing that we're really excited about is our earn pools, where you deposit X and earn Y, which is kind of a cool way to program your yield, if you will, and how to direct that. And so we've come a long way in this last year, and I think this is one of the anchoring kind of opportunities in crypto broadly defined. DeFi is just at the beginning. We have a long way to go, and I think the thing that gives me the biggest kind of energy in terms of where this is going is the communities that are involved. These are the developers, the users, the partners. It's been pretty incredible to watch over the last year, and I'm excited to see where all this goes. So thank you for spending time with me today, and you can check out more on Vesper at vesper.finance.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for coming in, talking to us about DeFi. The community likes the term hi-fi, and I do as well. When I think about hybrid smart contracts and centralized finance and decentralized finance. So we'll see how that term floats. Appreciate your time. Everybody, we are going to take a brief break, and we will be back very soon with more SmartCon Day 3.
Thanks.
Welcome back to SmartCon number 1, 2021. My name is Andy Boyan from ChainLink Labs. We've been going for a few hours today here on day 3 of SmartCon. And I know that this keynote many of you have been waiting for, so we're going to get into it. I'm very pleased to announce and introduce Alex Mashinsky from Celsius Network. He'll be presenting All Roads Lead to Decentralization. Here's Alex.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, ChainLink and Sergey, for organizing these events. I think it's very important to continue help educate and train the broad community, the crypto community, about everything we're doing here in crypto. So my presentation today involves, again, money over IP, DeFi, CeFi, this migration that we're going through, and we're super excited because today we announced our second press release this week with ChainLink, so we're going to get into the details of that as well. So really, we are at war, right? There's you can see that in the news with a lot of the regulators and politicians and everybody else kind of talking about, are we going to stick with traditional finance, or are we going to allow this new decentralized version of finance to take hold, right? And in the old world, it's really, we all live in this pyramid in which we're stuck in one level or another, and it's almost impossible for us to rise to the top to be part of that 1%. But in CeFi or DeFi, really, we live in a circle. Everybody has equal opportunity. Anyone can come up with a protocol, and as long as you invent something that other people can use, you have a chance to basically be valued based on your contribution to society, and not necessarily like in the triangle where you're measured by your ability to generate profit, your ability to generate stuff for your boss or for his boss, and so on. So we've all witnessed this crazy amount of money printing, right, that's going on. It's funny, like people ask me all the time, is DeFi pushing TradFi, or is it TradFi basically killing itself by printing all this crazy money? And if you look at the amount of money that was printed since 2008, since Satoshi kind of created Bitcoin, you can see that more than half of all the money that was ever created was created in the last 10 to 12 years, right? So it's just crazy what's happening out there. Now, in history, we've seen one empire after the next, right? We've seen how all of these empires basically lose their power, and a lot of it happened through the debasement of their currency. And that's unfortunately what we're going through in the United States. And the question is, what really going to replace that? So really, we're betting on a decentralized version of money, money that is not controlled by a government or by a central bank, because all those entities have effectively basically we've lost the trust in them because they debased or lost value for us on our savings and on our assets. Now, total world assets, huge number, right?